You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 10th day of January, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first live broadcast is private. That's reserved for our traders and anyone that's taking our 1-week free trial. If you haven't taken our 1-week free trial, it's 5 consecutive trading days, so it can stretch over a weekend. It's not a problem. Go to mytradingiq.com, and at the very top of the page, you'll see a link that says 5-day free trial, no credit card required. Click the link, complete the registration form properly so that it gets to us, and that same day, we will get your indicators indicating, get your desktop set up. Then the following day, your trial will officially begin. And as I said, you'll get 5 consecutive trading days, even if it stretches over a weekend. In fact, even better if it stretches over a weekend, right? Because some markets never sleep. And that will give you an opportunity to get familiar with the indicators. So again, that's mytradingiq.com. The link's at the very top of the page. 5-day free trial, no credit card required. Now, when the live training room ends at 11:30 a.m. Eastern each morning, we do take a 30-minute break, and then we come back for the afternoon broadcast, this broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's 2 different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. Best way, you only have to do this once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down to where it says afternoon broadcast. Click the link, complete that 30-second registration form, and you are done. You never have to do that again. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. Now, the benefit of that is it gives you access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there's going to be days when you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you'd still like to join the broadcast live. You can. And there'll be days when you're just busy and can't join live, but you would like to get caught up later on. You can do that too. Of course, I'm talking about our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. Really easy to remember. You already know the youtube.com stuff, so all you got to remember really is CFRN, Christian Financial Radio Network. Very simple. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing as I speak, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,300 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you are new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Not just today, not just this week, but thanks to YouTube, you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years, even more. Now, of course, you're not going to watch them all, but pick a few days at random and just listen in for a bit. You'll quickly discover the thread of connectivity, the thread of continuity that's woven through each and every daily broadcast and our very vibrant trading community. youtube.com/CFRN. That, let's get going with our daily devotional, word of prayer, then we'll get into the markets. And then about 12:45, 12:50, Michael will pop in, give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll go live on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes of live trading. And then we'll wrap things up with our good word for the day. So the topic of our devotion this week, as we begin this new year, is new beginnings. And today's scripture is Ephesians chapter 4 and verses 25 through 32. And I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. What this adds up to then is this: no more lies, no more pretense. Tell your neighbor the truth. In Christ's body, we're all connected to each other. After all, when you lie to others, you end up lying to yourself. Go ahead and be angry. You do well to be angry. But don't use your anger as fuel for revenge. And don't stay angry. Don't go to bed angry. Don't give the enemy that kind of foothold in your life. Did you used to make ends meet by stealing? Well, no more. Get an honest job so that you can help others who can't work. Watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps. Each word a gift. Don't grieve God. Don't break his heart. His Holy Spirit, moving and breathing in you, is the most intimate part of your life, making you fit for himself. Don't take such a gift for granted. Make a clean break with all cutting, backbiting, profane talk. Be gentle with one another, sensitive. Forgive one another as quickly and thoroughly as God in Christ forgave you. Again, that was Ephesians 4:25 through 32. When a new year begins, people are taken up with resolutions and predictions for what the next 365 days will bring. Many times, however, our plans to lose weight, to get fit, to get organized, just as an example, don't even last through the month of January. Some of us do good to make it through the first week. Now, we can be lighthearted about some of our failed good intentions, but not when it's a question of our not being able to kick habits that are destructive to ourselves and to our loved ones. While bad habits can be changed in an instant when we repent of our sins and ask Jesus to come into our hearts, there are times when God has to change things around in our lives in order for entrenched habits to be overcome. Our minds have to be renewed because we are used to thinking a certain way, and our thoughts may automatically go down old tracks that are not healthy for us. It isn't enough to get rid of the old habits. We also have to begin some new practices, new habits. Nature abhors a vacuum. So you remove something, you got to replace it with something. In his letter to the Ephesians, the Apostle Paul told them not only to put off their old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, but also to put on the new self. Not only to put off falsehood, but to speak truthfully to their neighbor instead. Not to steal any longer, but rather to work so that they may have something to share with those in need. It is said that it takes about a month or so to make or break a habit. As we put these good things into practice, we will gradually see good habits forming. Habits such as spending time with God and reading His Word every day. It also goes without saying that we must use wisdom in staying away from our former hangouts and refraining from watching or listening to things that could reignite old passions. There's a saying, if you go to the barbershop enough times, eventually you're going to get a haircut. You probably know someone who said, I'm going to quit drinking, but I'm still going to go on Sunday and hang out with the guys, and watch the game. Of course, I'm just going to have ginger ale. It may last for a week, it may last for a month, but if you walk where it's slippery, you know what's eventually going to happen. The truth of the matter is, we can make new resolutions until we're blue in the face, but nothing is going to change unless Christ is living His life through us. Thankfully, that is what is promised to every believer. We can get off the treadmill of forever turning over a new leaf and instead ask the Holy Spirit for the strength to break bad habits as well as the grace to make new godly habits that will help us in our walk with God to the glory of His name. And as for predictions concerning any new season in life, here is one that as Christians, you and I can absolutely count on. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That's Psalm 23:6. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, as we come before you in prayer, our hearts are touched by the words we just read in Ephesians 4. Lord, we humbly come before you, recognizing the call to live in the light of your truth and to treat one another with kindness and forgiveness. Help us to put away falsehood in all of our dealings, choosing honesty and transparency. May our words and actions reflect the integrity that comes from living in the truth of your word. And Lord, soften our hearts to be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving as you have forgiven us. In moments of tension or disagreement, guide us to seek reconciliation and understanding. May our words be filled with grace and our actions marked by love. Let the Holy Spirit work within us, creating an environment where we trust, respect, and flourish. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen. Happy Wednesday. It's a happy Wednesday for you, whoever you are and wherever you are. Wow. What a... I don't know how many of you follow the crypto world, but yesterday, the SEC, they say their Twitter account got hacked. And there was a premature announcement that the spot Bitcoin ETFs had been approved. And then they put out another tweet that said, our account's been compromised. That's not true. And the world was spinning. Now, just 2 days before, and I should have had this ready to show you, the SEC had put out a tweet that says, everybody's excited about these upcoming ETFs, but, don't believe everything you read on the internet and be very careful. And I mean, he went into great detail. And comically ironic that the SEC chief gets hacked. Now, many are saying that some intern, that in other words, they had a tweet ready to go out, but it wasn't supposed to go out until maybe today, maybe Thursday, and some intern, fat fingered it and accidentally sent it out yesterday afternoon. And so the markets went crazy. They were up, they were down, back up. I mean, when everybody realized what was going on, things pretty much went back to normal. But he was right in his original tweet. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. So, how will we know when they've actually been approved? And we can see trading activity with, whatever broker you use. Now, let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with cash markets, or the indices as they're called. The Dow up 41 points. The NASDAQ up 60. S&P 500 up 10. But the Russell 2000, our man in the street, is down almost 5. So, yes, again, we have division among the 4 major indices. Now, 41 points positive for the Dow. I mean, that's not a lot. 60 points for the NQ. That's, For the S&P to be up 10, that's pretty good. But typically when the S&P is up 10, the Dow will be up like 100. So, and then we have the Russell in the red. See what happens by the end of the broadcast. We'll see if they end up on the same side of the street. In the commodity basket, and we did have crude inventories today. Currently, crude is unchanged on the session, trading 72.24 last. Gold down 30 cents, trading 20.3270 last. Silver up 2 cents, trading 23.12 last. Make that 3 cents. Just went up another penny. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei gained 678 points. It's just over 2%. Shanghai fell 15. The Hang Seng dropped 92. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 32. The DAX up 1.5. The CAC down 0.5 point. Man, this thin, quiet trade in the UK, it's been months now. Hope that contagion doesn't spread over here, because we like volatility. We had a mixed day in Asia. The Nikkei, the only one in the green, and by 2%. It was a mixed day in the UK, but the DAX, the only one in the green, 1.5 points. And, as I said, it's a mixed Radio Wednesday here in the US of A. Got the Dow, the NQ, the S&P in the green, the Russell. It's only down 4.5 points, but the fact that it's red instead of green, you know, that always gives me caution. Okay. Let's move on to Logic 247. Logic 247 is our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. But it's not just E-minis. It's also crude and gold and silver and euro and bonds. We're in week 284 since we launched. Over the last 284 weeks, we've issued over 15,800 individual handcrafted alerts. In yesterday's broadcast, I actually went through all the alerts that were issued Sunday, Monday, and we might peek at that again. Now, this recap was done by Valerie this morning at 6:45 a.m. Eastern. She will update it this afternoon and this evening as necessary. But this is where we stood when she did the recap this morning. Now remember, our week starts Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when the Globex markets open. If you come from the world of futures, you might think the trading week starts Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And if you trade stocks, that is true. But if you trade futures, you get to go to work Sunday night if you want at 6 p.m. Eastern. You don't have to. That's the beautiful thing about the markets. You can work when you want to and not work when you don't want to. But the markets, they're always there. If you've ever ran a business and had employees, you know what it's like to wonder, man, is everybody going to show up today? Am I going to have to, fill in somebody's position? Am I going to have to call in a temporary worker? The market shows up every day, except on holidays. So since the markets open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern through 6:45 a.m. this morning, we had issued a total of 28 alerts. 3 never triggered. Still waiting on 6. Now, I put a note in the alert channel last night. We only have a certain number of hours that we can update an alert. So as we approach that point, if it hasn't triggered yet, we put those little Z's in there, which means it hasn't triggered yet. But just because it hasn't triggered yet doesn't mean it won't trigger. In fact, if you go back and look at any of the alerts that had a Z next to them, if you scroll to the right, you'll probably see that after it got tagged with the Z's, it did eventually trigger. It may have run to the target, it may have got stopped out. That's beside the point, but we're forced to mark them because we can't, after a certain number of hours, we can't edit. So, and there were still 6 waiting, which gave us 19 actionable alerts, of which 1 or 5% would have been stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their unlimited one-on-one mentoring sessions. As I said, we've issued over 15,800 alerts over the last 284 weeks in the Logic channel. And we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and that simple process we teach all of our passport holders. So, we did this yesterday, but I guess we can go ahead and do it today real quick. Scroll up to the Sunday night open. There we go. Okay. We'll just do this real quick. Last week, week 283, and it was a 4-day week last week, we issued a total of 61 alerts, 18 never triggered. We had 43 actionable alerts, of which 6 or 14% would have been stopped out based on market structure and that simple method that we teach all of our passport holders. Now we're in week 284. The markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. First alert coming out of the gate, it was alert number 15,817. It was to be long the ES. You always have an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day. See, there's 2 points there, 47.51 to 47.53. And then I look left for you to spot potential obstacles. Because this is a long, I would be looking for previous swing highs. So you've got a second target at 47.57. Got a third target at 47.65. And then the final trade to target at the weekly trading zone. On every long alert, the final trade to target will always be the zone above. On every short alert, the final trade to target will always be the zone below. We had a long on the Dow. We had a long on the Russell. We had a long on the NQ. We had a long on crude. We had a no trigger on gold. We had a long on silver. We had a short on the euro. We had a no trigger on the bonds. We had a short on the Dow. We had a short on the ES. We had a short on crude. And we had a long on the euro. Now that all happened Sunday night. Then we roll into Monday. We had a long on gold, long on the NQ, a stop out on crude, and I guess this one hasn't triggered yet. Short on silver, short on gold. Still no trigger here. Oh, replace below. Okay, there may have been a duplication. Long on the NQ. I'm assuming this never triggered. We had a long on crude. Now, this long trade, 72.55, 72.75. But look where we ended up, all the way up to 76.78. When the price of crude moves $1, that's worth $1,000 per contract traded. There's a short on the Dow. These two haven't triggered. This is that reminder I put out last night. All alerts remain a viable opportunity until triggered. We have a time restriction in regards to the recap. We are required to mark untriggered alerts with the Z by 48 hours after publishing for the official recap. However, the opportunity the alert represents still exists. So just because it hasn't triggered yet doesn't mean it won't trigger. So keep that in mind. And then today being the 10th, this is stuff that was done today that Valerie hasn't even had a chance to get to yet. Okay. Long before we had Logic 247, we had the concierge trade alerts. And they're a little bit different than the logic alerts in a couple different ways. Those logic alerts are based on current price action. However, there's time built in, a built-in time to every logic alert. For you to get the alert, go to your 30-minute chart, see the window of opportunity that it represents, and then you're prepared to take action when price gets to that area using exactly what Michael teaches you every morning in the live training room. All alerts are created on the 30-minute chart, the logic alerts and the CTAs. But the trigger chart is the 7-tick range chart. Last night, now the previous night, as I explained yesterday, I didn't get the alerts out, the CTAs out till 8:55. Last night I was on track 610. Now, while the logic alerts are based on current price action, the CTAs are based on historic price action. Also, with the CTAs, you have to look left yourself. Now, there's a reason for this. The alerts are part of the training process. See, our goal is to teach you how to trade, to become self-sufficient. If you want to trade for a living, it's never going to happen waiting for somebody else to tell you when to get in and when to get out. You've got to be able to look at a chart, read the chart, understand what price is trying to do, and then all you have to do is do the same thing long enough to get your goal for the day. The logic alerts can come out at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. because futures trade around the clock and we have traders around the globe. The CTAs are published as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening. So when we go to the charts, on the 30-minute chart, just remember when I point out the opening candle last night, that it was 10 minutes into the life of that 30-minute candle that every one of our traders and trial members had access to these targets. And before the broadcast ends, we'll walk through each one of these individual markets. So what's the first thing you do when the report comes out? Go to the 30-minute chart of whatever markets you trade or are learning how to trade and make note of where price is at the time the report is published. Okay? It'll always be between these two numbers. Make a note on your 30-minute chart where price was time of the release. Then draw a line in the sand at the long target. Draw a line in the sand at the short target. Those will serve as great visual cues to help you stay on the right side of the street. Now, if price gets above the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the long target. If price gets below the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the short target. Now, if you're new, you're going, well, what's a BBC? It's the green line you see on my charts, whether it's the daily or the 30-minute. BBC simply stands for bull, bear, cross. In other words, if price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and we anticipate higher prices, no matter what market or time frame. If price gets below the green line, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices, no matter what market, no matter what time frame. Really simple. Okay. Now, again, with the CTAs, you got to look left to spot potential obstacles. Previous swing highs or swing lows that could become obstacles to the trade. The initial target, there is no, from the entry to the initial target, there is no obstacle. But as you saw, as we scrolled through the logic alerts, some of them have 3, 4, 5, 6 targets. Okay. So you start with the logic, you're able to see how I came up with those targets. And then with the CTAs, you get a chance now to practice yourself spotting. And you can, of course, use the logic alerts as a cheat sheet. Okay. And you have to learn how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. Why? Because price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night till they close Friday afternoon. If price is above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. If price is below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. We've published the zone since December 14th of 2009. They come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And once they're published, carved in stone for the entire week. They do not change in any way whatsoever. Beyond that, you just got to resist the urge to make it more complicated than that. As long as you know which way the wind is blowing, it's pretty simple to reach your goal for the day. All right, let's go look at the daily chart where we always start. Everybody said, I don't trade the daily chart. Yeah, me either. But it's where I go. Now, this is the S&P. You may not trade the S&P. But everything I'm going to say holds true to whatever you trade. If it's a different futures market, if it's an individual stock, maybe it's a crypto, a forex pair, an ETF. You see, the institutional traders are the ones who move price because of account size. They have accounts in the hundreds of millions, billions, even in some cases trillions of dollars. So, imagine being able to look over the shoulder of one of those institutional traders and see what they're looking at and see what they're doing. That's exactly what's happening here. Okay, this is today, Wednesday, which started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Here's Tuesday, here's Monday. So the Monday high was 48.03 and a quarter. Yesterday's high was 48.04. And so far today's high is 48.07.75. So where's the next spot for potential resistance? Big picture. The high of January 2nd, 48.28. Then the 50% fib extension, 48.40. Now, do these institutional traders have these fibs and fib extensions on their charts? You better believe they do. They look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way we look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. It has to do with account size. Our strategy, our indicators aren't designed to outsmart the institutions with their infinite resources. No, it's much simpler than that. Our strategy and our indicators are designed to help you see and understand what the deep pockets are doing at any given moment in time. And then all you have to do is the same thing long enough, get your goal for the day, and have the discipline to put the mouse away. So we're just off the high of the day, but buyers are still buying, okay? Taking out the previous 2 days high, that's bullish. We know where our next obstacle is, and then the next obstacle is right here. And if we get through that, our next obstacle is right here. Okay? All right. So again, no matter what you trade, if you'll just look at the daily chart for 2 minutes before you start trading, so that you can go with the flow of the deep pockets instead of fighting the flow, you'll find that your trading results will improve tremendously over time. So here's the 30-minute chart of the ES. Wow. Pretty flat, right? Now, here's the opening candle last night. Before we could start thinking about trading to the short target, we needed to get below the weekly zone. When price drops to a zone, we expect it to be support until proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect it to be resistance until proven otherwise. See how it was resistance? Then it dropped and made another run, overcame it. And then what was resistance, what was support, became resistance, became support again. See how price is just oscillating around the zone, but always coming back to the zone. So we opened last night, and yes, we come down to the zone, but we don't get below the zone, so we can't really entertain this short trade. However, when red and falling turns to blue and climbing, and price gets above the BBC, we can certainly think about trading to the long target. This candle here opened at 47.90, so we had a 7-point run up. Now, we exceeded that. See, there's yesterday's high right there. The vertical line separates today, Wednesday, from Tuesday. And if I scroll back, you can see Monday, last Friday, etc. Okay. Now, we've taken on this candle, we were unable to take out right here. We were unable to take out yesterday's high. We spiked it and then came right back on this candle. This candle actually closed above yesterday's high, but then immediately failed. Now, where's price? It's trying to close above this high. If it fails, it will retrace back to the BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. It's the green line that I was talking about. Pullback holds more often than it doesn't. See, when we pulled back from below, it held. And then when we pulled back from above, it held. Okay. Zone held as support. And we got one more zone overhead, way up at 48.80. We got 2 more trading days. Now, the highest or lowest zone, it's not a forecast that we're going to reach those points. It's laying out the playing field for the week. Now, remember, these are the zones that were issued Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published Monday morning, they don't change the entire week. This zone is 47.86/87. The low of this candle was 87.75. So on this pullback, we missed touching it by 3 ticks. So we hit it again. Now we're trying to go higher. Question is, do buyers have what it takes? Do they have enough commitment? Okay. We're always suspicious of a slightly higher high. Okay. We want to see a higher high of at least a couple points. Depending upon the market, maybe even more. On the Dow, here's where we opened last night. This was the opening candle. We pulled up to the VBC, the pullback held, and down we go. Did we make it all the way to the target? No. Did we drop enough to get your goal for the day? Yes. Then red and falling turns to blue and climbing. And it pops this candle. Is that enough to get your goal for the day? Yep. Then you see this high correlates with that high. That's what I mean about looking left for the obstacles. That's why on the logic alerts, you see multiple targets. Because I know that that area is potential resistance based on that high. And so that sent us back to the BBC, the pullback held, and then we ran up and we hit the target, spiked the zone, pulled back to the BBC, pullback held, we made another run. But this is really important. The step line, the black line, has crossed. See how on the way up, you've got price, the step line, blue and climbing, and the BBC. Once that step line crosses to the right side of blue and climbing, that's an indication that price is most likely going to pull back to the BBC, which we expect to be support until proven otherwise. As price was falling yesterday, okay, we found support at the zone, but once that step line crossed, what happened? Price pulled right back up to the BBC. So it works in either direction. On the Russell last night, here's where we opened below the BBC, and we had red and falling. Did we make it to the short target on the first move? No. Did we drop enough to get your goal for the day? Yes. Then we got above the BBC, and we ran up to the zone that was published Monday morning. And we found resistance, just like we did yesterday. So then price drops below the BBC, hits the short target, spikes the zone, okay? Spikes it right down into this area where we had the bullish cross. And we always expect that to be support, even though it was 2 days ago. Whenever a bullish cross leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area, it will almost always be good support. And it was. So now we pull back up to the BBC. Question is, will the pullback hold? If it does, then we'll get another trip down to the target, down to the zone. If it doesn't, if it starts to move higher, be wary of that and that as potential resistance on the way up. Okay? All right. Now,
Michael is there.
Michael is here. So we'll go over the NQ, crude, gold, silver, and the euro before we wrap up. But right now we're going to get a recap of what happened in the live training room. We'll go live on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes, and then we'll complete the CTA recap and wrap it up with our good word for the day. All right, looks good.
Good. Much better than yesterday. Yesterday, I guess that weather was really creating some issues with us. So
No, it looks fine.
I'm glad. Good. All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 10th day of January, 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you'd like to, go here to mytradingiq.com. Right here, click on that to take the free trial. Now, there's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that, you're going to be brought to this registration page. It's just a simple page. All you have to do is your first name, your last name, email, phone number. Down here at the bottom, if you have TradingView, give us a TradingView ID. If you have NinjaTrader, give us your machine ID. And, well, you can't join webinar progress, but you hit join. And then you'll be sent all the information that you need to get into the room in the morning. And you will also be able to access all of our indicators. All right, we'll enable all of them for you on your desktop. Okay, that's how you take the free trial. Now, you should really go into here to trading platforms and make sure you download everything properly. All right, from mytradingiq.com, click on trading platforms. You can also go to trade rules and familiarize yourself with the rules for the trade setups that we're going to be doing in the morning. We follow these rules all the time, same rules all the time. Okay, so if you familiarize yourself with that, that'd be good. There are some videos in here that you can watch that have, well, it's a little bit outdated. There are some things in here. We don't have blue arrows in here anymore, but they are videos of what I do in the room, so you can watch them live. These are recorded me doing it live anyway. You can watch those videos and check it all out so you know what you're getting into. All right, so the spreadsheet for today. Today, the markets were really slow at the beginning. We didn't place a single trade in the first 15 minutes. But if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 10th day of January 2024. We made 80 ticks on the NQ, 17 ticks on the Russell. We lost 10 on the crude, and we lost 10 on the ES. That put us at plus 260 on the morning session. Today it took 51 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up to $1,950, and we took a total of 14 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're up $2,555. That's over 7 trading days, averaging $365 per contract per 2-hour trading day. On the year now, it's all the same stuff. We're 7 out of 7 getting our goal for the day. Getting our goal on the year, and 7th day 777, and that's lucky 777. It's 21 blackjack. Anyway, getting the goal for the day. So far this year, it's taken us 208 minutes in the 7 days. We worked for 208 minutes to make $14,690. So 3 3.75 hours to make $14,000. So we're averaging $4,237 an hour so far this year. That's with 13 contracts on right now, but $4,237 an hour is what we're averaging right now. Okay, we'll see how that goes as we get into the year. We'll see if that goes up or down. Right now, we've had some pretty slow days this year so far. We've had number of minutes. We've had a couple of them right here, an hour or so. And if you knock off those first 15 minutes, where I don't actually, in the pre-market, maybe 5 minutes there. Well, 5 minutes there. Yeah, if you knock off the first 15, it'd be 5 minutes there, 3 minutes there, 2 minutes there, 4 minutes there, 5 minutes there. And this one would have been still long, it'd be 40-something minutes, and this one would still be a little bit longer. But if you knock off those first 15 minutes, then this hourly rate down here would be much bigger. Every one of those days, if you take off 15 minutes, that's 2 hours less that it took us. 2 hours less. So it'd be 1.4 hours. We got $14,690. Anyway, let's go back here now to what we actually did do. Oh, it's behind us. Here we go. This is what we actually did do. All right, let me bring up the question box. Here's the question box. Okay. And let's see, let's slide it back all the way back here. All right. Yeah, I'm going to try to get this done, then we'll start the live stream. Don't want to forget to do that. All right, so our first trade in here on crude was a -10. And that was all we did on crude. We had a -10 there, then we had a break even. I think we had another break even in here somewhere. We had some nice trades in here, but I was doing the lesson plan. So I missed all of that. And I took this one for another break even. And you guys remember, those of you guys that were in there this morning in the lesson plan this morning, everything that I was saying about looking at the bigger picture with the leg lengths. Do you see anything on this right here? Anything jumping out at you? Ding, 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 ding. That should be jumping out at you from the lesson plan this morning. Anyway, if you weren't in the lesson plan this morning because you didn't take the free trial or you're not a partner, well, then you missed out. Take the free trial. It really is free. All right, so we'll get into the Russell now. We did have some trades on the Russell, so let's get into that. All right. I think people would say the lesson plan was pretty good this morning. Well, people did say the lesson plan was pretty good this morning. Anyway, on the Russell, our first trade here was a break even. Then our next trade was right over here. We stopped out -10. Then we picked up the 10 back there. And so we're at break even at that point. And then we picked up 17 ticks on that one. And that got us to +17 on the Russell. Then we got into the lesson plan. I didn't trade the Russell anymore for quite a while at all, actually. If you look through here, we had a nice blue arrow right there. We had another blue arrow over here. This one worked out fine. This one didn't work out at all. So they would have canceled each other out pretty much. And that was it on the Russell this morning. Okay. The ES, we had just a couple of trades on that. One right here, that was a break even, and one right here that stopped us out. And that was all that we had on the ES. You can see the whole day is right here on the ES. There were no more trades on the ES, so it was really slow today. The NQ. I was using this a lot with the leg length lesson plan this morning. Okay. We'll go back here, right here. That was our first trade of the day. We got a break even on that one. Then the next one over here, we got 30 ticks profit on that. I actually got 30 ticks profit over here too, but I didn't move it fast enough to show you, so it didn't count. So I got 30 ticks profit on that, and that is where we got the goal for the day. And then I had a break even there, a break even there, a break even there. Then another 20 ticks profit here to get us to 50, and then we got into the lesson plan. And you see there were some nice blue arrows in here during the lesson plan. One right there that didn't work out very well, but during the lesson plan I explained why. And there's one more trade in here that I took somewhere in here for another 30 ticks. I don't know where that was exactly. I think it was right here. I think right here is where I got those other 30 ticks, right here. And that was it. That was it this morning. We just had a blue arrow over here that just gave probably 20, 25 ticks right now. And looking at the leg lengths, what would you expect? Right? From here to here, from here to probably right about there. As you'd expect, from here to here, from here to here, from here to right about there. That's what I'd be looking for. All right, and that was it for the NQ. We ended up with +80 on the NQ this morning. So if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here. No, not there. Go here. Go here to my trading button right here. Click that button and it will be brought to this registration page. Sign up here on the registration page. Okay. Really simple process. No credit card required. Just sign up there and you'll be able to get right into the room with us in the morning. All right. Get your indicators activated. Get your stuff running on your platform. Again, mytradingiq.com. Press that button. No credit card required. All right. Time to get into the lesson plan. Not the lesson plan. Get into the live stream. All right. Here we go with that. Okay, the live stream has begun. So let's go back one more step here on the NQ. What I was just going over really quickly that I said I went over this morning, and I did in a lot of detail this morning, but you can see it again happening right here on the NQ. We'll draw our leg length. All right. And ping, leg length. Oops, hang on. Bing, leg length. And so what do you expect now? Bing, leg length. That's what I was saying just a minute ago. I expect it should go up to about right here. Okay. He did put in a high swing. He might have another opportunity here. Let this blue arrow right here, put in a higher swing. You got enough to get the 30 ticks out of that anyway. It's pulling back a little bit deeper right here, which is okay. Did that back here too. But this is the leg length that it's trying to get up to. This is what it's trying to finish off right here. And that's what I was telling you just a few minutes ago. Okay. So knowing that, you would feel a little bit more confidence taking the trade right here, right? Perhaps. You know, it pulled back pretty deep right here. So they might pull back a little bit deeper, kind of like this one did back here. All right. You know, I'd normally like to have the trades be a blue one rather than a green one that's pulled back so deep. But it should push up to this level right here. It should get up to the prior swing high at least, and then go through that up to this level right here. That's what it should do. But you can see it's pulling back just a little deeper here. So we'll see what happens with that. And that is what's going on with the NQ. Over here right now on the crude oil, the ribbon is inside the weekly trading zone. That's a good spot for a trade setup to happen. I'd like it to go down just a little further. If we get a down close on this bar, it will go down a little further. Okay, and on the Russell, we just changed directions. We did hit the ribbon right there. Be nice to have it pull back and hit the ribbon one more time, but we don't have to wait for that. The ES is changing directions, and it did bounce off the ribbon there. It gave you a green arrow on the bounce off the ribbon. Now, the reason that's a green arrow, not a blue arrow, is because price pulled back and it hit the black line here, and the black line managed to get out of the green. Okay, I know you can barely see it in there, but see right in here, the black line got out of the green right underneath there. So it's a valid trade. It's a valid trade. Okay. It should go through the high of the day right now. It should get up to right there, 950. Okay, that would be 30 ticks up there. All right, I'm going to lock in one tick here. It's getting a little explosive here. Getting up to that swing high right there at 8.5. Should go right through that, and we'll see. Should go up 950 now too, I think. It's starting to get a little bit explosive, and we're going to lock in 5 ticks on that. I meant to lock in 4, but we'll go for 5, 6. This number up here is what it's going to. Okay, I don't see another number above it, but what's that? 48.10. There it was, 13 ticks. How easy was that? How easy was that? Let's see. I didn't record this session. All right, well, that did get recorded in YouTube, so I don't know if Valerie can go back and get that out of YouTube somehow. But that was the trade right there. Nice green arrow trade, and it put in a higher swing. So all that worked out. Remember what I just said back here about this? Oops, I didn't mean to draw that. What I just said back here about the NQ, about it being just a little bit deeper pullback, and this right here being the leg length it was going to get up to, right? You see we're just getting up there now. Actually, it should be right, yeah, right here. So we just got up to that leg length right now. Right, I just said all that. You guys all heard me say that and watch me say it. This is a little bit deeper, just like this one was. That's what I was saying. It pulled back deep enough down in here to make that green arrow not so attractive. This blue arrow here was great. That's exactly what I would have liked to see. This green arrow here was pretty good. This pulled back really deep. So this black arrow here should go up above this prior swing high. Okay, right now. We'll see. Oh, good. No, I'm sorry. I'm on. Text her back really quick. All right, so we did put in a higher swing here, like I was hoping for, and the ES is probably running right now too. The ES is running, in fact, and I didn't give you a number up above on the ES that it should go up to any more. The DOM's not really giving me as much as it normally does to look at. 48.14 is the next number up, but the pullback number is 48.10. 48.10 is what it looks like it's going to pull back to right here. Okay, and there it goes to 48.10 and 48.14. There's actually another pullback number right now at 48.0775. 48.0775, and that puts it right inside the ribbon. Okay, so that's about right. It should pull back to right about here, and then should put in a higher swing because the next number up is 48.14. Now, those of you guys who don't know where I'm getting those numbers, I'm reading it straight to you out of the DOM. Okay, if you don't know how to read the DOM, again, take the free trial, become a partner, and you will get all that I can tell you about how to do that. So the pullback number that I just gave you was right here at 775. The number it should get up to is 14.25 right there. I think it was 14.25. But I know the pullback number is right here. Now we're in the oversold, so we're gonna have a black arrow if we pull out of this right now. We'll have a black arrow. We won't have a green arrow. We won't have a blue arrow because we didn't hit the ribbon. All right. So if you want to wait for a pullback on this black arrow, you can wait for that. I mean, you can take the trade right now. Your stop will be like right here if you take the trade right now. All right, so you will be in there if it pulls back and it hits the ribbon and gives you something off the ribbon anyway. It's that 775 number. It almost got down there. It was 2 ticks away from that 775 number. But the place it's going up to is right here. Okay, you can't see it yet, but you could see it a minute ago. And that's when you get into the training, this is the kind of thing that you to expect this. Right, to anticipate it, be in there for the trade. It just hit that 775 number that I was talking about. And it should bounce up off of this and go all the way up to here. That's what it should do right now. Okay. We don't have a trade set up for it yet because you have to get an up close on this bar coming off the ribbon. All right, you have to get an up close on this bar coming off the ribbon. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I mean, I don't know what it's going to do, but I know what it's likely to do. And it all comes from the training. Just doing the same thing again and again and again for years and years and years. All right, back to the lesson plan from this morning, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. All right. All the same stuff again and again and again. Let's see. I was just looking at who's out in the audience right now and seeing if we have people out there that are not actually partners already. Well, I don't know who's going to watch on YouTube later. But anyway, so over here on the Russell, we had a second opportunity there. The green arrow. Now that would have gotten you enough to get to your stop to break even, maybe lock in a little profit. This one right here still hasn't triggered. You haven't gotten the blue, any kind of an arrow yet on this, other than the black arrow. You haven't gotten any kind of an arrow yet because it hit in the ribbon when it closed up on this. Well, it has to close up and pull out of the oversold. Is what it's going to do right now. So this is good. The way it's setting up right now. If you get an up close on this bar without it going any lower right now, you'll have a blue arrow. Right, you guys see that? You see why right here? Now it just closed lower and it hit the black line. So now it would be a green arrow. If you get an up close on this and it pulls it out of the oversold, it'll be a green arrow. All right, it got down a little lower than I thought it was going to. And if I look at the DOM right now, that's about as far down as it should go. The DOM says maybe 575. If it does keep going down, it's going to go down to 575 and you won't have a trade set up at all. But if we get the close up right here, then that's what we're looking for. Right? If we get the close up, then that's exactly the kind of thing we're looking for. I didn't check out in the live stream. I don't think anybody's asked any questions out in the live stream, but if anybody has any questions in the live stream, if you want to see anything other than futures, all you have to do is type it in. Okay. I'm going to look over here at our Mara for a second. Mara is falling apart. Now we have lower highs and lower lows. So Mara is falling apart. I don't remember what I said, 575. If this bar doesn't, if that bar doesn't close up, if this bar doesn't close up, 575 is next level down. Oh yeah, okay. I'll have to look at it. It was in a triangle, a huge triangle, if I remember right, on a daily. Yeah, it's still in a huge triangle on a daily. So it is falling apart, and this is starting to fall apart too. That bar needs to close up, but it didn't. 575 was the next number down, and there it is. And as I was saying, if it goes down to 575, we're not going to have a trade set up at all. So we just fell right through it all. Right. So let's go back and look at this in a little bit bigger picture and see how it all applies. All right. Now, the ES has not been trending as nicely as the NQ was this morning. So the moves up and all that are not as clear cut. But you can see the last time it made this move up right here, it had a really deep pullback. It's basically the same thing. It's having a really deep pullback right here. This pullback is about the same size as this pullback so far. Going back to the leg length stuff from this morning, we had the legs up and we also have the legs down, right? So this is our leg down right here. Okay, and that's what we're looking at right here. The same leg down to the tick right now. So it went from that consolidation, then a leg up, and that's kind of the way that the DS is acting this morning. You get a leg up, consolidation, then a leg up, then consolidation. That's the way it's been acting. The NQ has been a little better than the ES has been. So it just dropped down even more right here. It's more like this one over here right now. So it's going to change directions on us. And if it does, it does. Right now we're in a no trade zone. Well, we were in a no trade zone. We're out of it right now. But as we pull back up here and the black line gets on top, we may have an opportunity to short this thing. So we'll just trade what's in front of us. This number up here, don't forget about that number up there. We'll be coming back to that, I think. Okay, so the MARA, you're right when I had on the 15 range. The ES now is, I'll say that's not the ES. The NQ gave us the black arrow there, not the ES. The NQ gave us that black arrow there. The black arrow worked out pretty well, but that's after a trend change. And after a trend change, I like to pull all the way back up and test the ribbon. All right, right after a trend change. That is what I prefer to see. Time is it? 112. Wow. I did not hear about what I saw what happened with the price, but I didn't hear why. I didn't know why. Why did that happen? The live stream can't hear it. It's too bad.
This is what I think happened. Had a tweet ready to go out the day that he gives the final approval for the ETFs, and some intern fat-fingered and sent the tweet yesterday. So a tweet came from the SEC's official channel that all had been approved. And it was written in language the way the SEC would write it. And then about 5 minutes later, another tweet comes out that goes, "Our account has been compromised. That was not an official tweet, blah, blah, blah." So I think they screwed up and I think they lied about it. So anyway, it was very unsettling for the markets, but they pretty much bounced back. So. And what made it comically ironic was, like 2 days ago, the SEC chairman put out a post that says, be careful, I know everybody's anticipating the release of these ETFs. Just because you see something on the internet, don't believe it. Just because you saw it on the internet. How ironic that 2 days later.
I tell my kids all the time.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was bizarre. I mean, it was the biggest anticipated event potentially in the life of BTC, and either somebody hacked it or somebody fat fingered it. And I'm really just kind of leaning towards the fat finger thing, but I don't know, and I'm sure we'll never know unless they actually catch the hacker and charge him and perp walk him and all that. So
I'm going to go with conspiracy theorists on that, conspiracy theory on that, and say they presented themselves a buying opportunity.
Okay.
Knowing what's coming up next, they presented themselves a buying opportunity. And I mean, let's look at Bitcoin right now. I'm looking for a down close over here on the ES. By the way, I was looking for a down close on the ES. We didn't get the trade yet. The outer bands spread out a little bit. We didn't get anything here on the NQ. We had the black arrow right here. It didn't put in a lower swing, so it's rounding right now in the bottom. Should start heading back up soon. The Mara is still in that triangle that I was talking about earlier. Higher, lower highs and higher lows. And I want to look at Bitcoin on the daily chart. Dwayne, we'll have to go back at 1:14 on my clock. At 1:14. In the recap recording on TradingView and see what your audio sounded like, because I just did something so that your audio should have played in the live stream. So we'll have to go check that out and see if that worked out.
Okay, at what time?
1:14 my time, on the clock in the live stream.
Okay.
It was at 1:14 my time.
Well,
So
if anyone in the live stream can hear me, just say I can hear him.
Well, not right now. They can't hear right now. I did it. I did it a minute ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So an hour and 14 minutes in. I'll check it out as soon as it posts to YouTube.
Okay.
And I'll let you know.
Okay, good, because I got that meeting with Joe and Bert coming up right after this one. And let's see. So now you can see that we recovered almost 100% from yesterday, and the stuff that we were saying in Bitcoin, starting at the end of last month, at the middle of last month, and here in December, we're saying we thought it was going to go up to here, we thought it was going to come down to here, we thought it was going to go up to here, and now we think it's going to come down to here. All right, it hasn't done the come down to here part because we haven't had we really haven't had the news yet. It's still the build up to the news. The news is coming out probably today, tomorrow, or something like that. And then we should have the sell off that brings it down to here. It'll probably, the irrational exuberance hasn't kicked in though, I don't think. I'm thinking it's going to hit 50 grand. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, that's just all speculation, complete speculation. There's no fundamental pattern or anything like that. There's no charting pattern that says, the irrational exuberance. There's no pattern for that. That's a guess. Is it? Well, it was getting killed yesterday, so the recovery will probably be better. It got killed percentage-wise more. So the NQ right there had the blue arrow. I added this extra thing on here. I gotta make sure my DOMs are in the right place when I click the button. Okay, so it's now 1:18, and Thursday lesson, audio, Thursday lesson. Okay, John, I'm not sure what you were referring to, but I'll figure it out. I'll send you an email in a little while. Anyway, here's the trade. Okay, it's got to go 8 ticks into profit. It hasn't gone 8 ticks into profit. It's got up to 1075 for me to bump that stop to break even. Now the stop is down here at it should be minus 32 ticks, but I got some slippage on that apparently. Minus 20 ticks is what it should be. So this is 4 points. This is 5 points. That's 5 points. That's where it should be right there. Okay, so it needs to get up here to 1075. 1075 for me to bump that stop to break even. Okay, what should it do? Well, it should get up above the prior swing high. It should at least get up to the prior swing high, which would be plenty for me to get the stop to break even, get my risk off the trade. All right, so that's the initial most important thing when I get into a trade is to get my risk off the trade. Following the rules to get my risk off the trade. All right, so I don't think anybody in the live stream has put anything in. I want to, one more time, I don't think I've actually done this in this session yet. If the people in the live stream, okay. If the people in the live stream watching this now or watching this after, if you want to have access to the indicators, go here to my tradingiq.com click on this right here. It'll get you access to the room and the indicators. The room in the morning, 9:15 to 11:30, and the indicators. All right. The only way to get access to these indicators is to click on that. All right. And the indicators don't just come. All right, that was -20 on the game. The indicators don't just, you don't just get this thing that says, okay, your indicators are active and nothing else. You get training with that. You get one-on-one training. You get to come in the room for 10 hours, over 10 hours now, 11 hours. You get to be in the room with us and you get one-on-one training. There's a lot to be learned in that amount of time.
You have access to everything our lifetime members have access to for 5 consecutive trading days, even if it stretches over a weekend.
That's right. What Dwayne just said, for those of you in live stream, is you get access to everything that all of our lifetime access members have, everything they have for 5 consecutive business days. Okay, 5 consecutive business days. You get access to everything. So if you take the trial, you should really take advantage of as much as you can while you're in the trial. So you get a real taste for it all. All right, so that NQ trade, it didn't go enough for me to get the stop to break even. It clearly looks like it did, but I didn't get in at a good enough spot or something like that, or I wasn't paying attention because it only had to go 8 ticks and it went about 12 ticks. So I stopped out on that one. That was my fault. There's nothing here. You see how the outer band's completely flat right here? You don't want to trade when the outer band's flat like that. I know this is flat too, but it was starting to spread out right in there. It's flatter now that it's pulled back. But like this one right here, you don't want to trade when it's like that. And usually you're gonna get put into a no trade zone like this right here when it's flat like that. We put right into a no trade zone. Okay, I'm gonna work on that whole no trade zone thing because there is something to be said about the way that it's interpreted sometimes. But I don't want to do it so it's makes the least amount of change to the way that everybody uses it right now. You know, right now you control that with the sensitivity, and I want to keep those numbers as they are as much as I can. All right. It's now 1:23, so we only have 7 minutes left in here. So far today, we haven't had a whole bunch of opportunity in here. We did have this trade here that was coming together perfectly, and then it didn't. Then it turned into no trade at all. We had this trade that came together well, but I wasn't fast enough to move my stop to break even. I didn't see it when it went there. I should have got my stop to break even. Maybe I didn't have a very good fill on that. It's possible. I think I didn't get a very good fill. I was in at 875, I think. Right, and if I was in it, 875 is not that bad. Even being in at 875, it ran up to 1050, so it still gave 9 ticks in profit. I should have had my stop at break even on that. Well, that is what we're looking at. Now, anybody who's in here who is not an active partner, who is not taking the free trial, to do that, you go to mytradingiq.com, sign up for the trial right here. Click on that button. Bring to this registration page, just fill it out. No credit card required. Give us a TradingView user ID. Okay. No trade zone, no trade zone, no trade zone. And let's see. I'm really gonna have to look at the code there for the no trade zone, because when it's flat, it should be no trade zone. All through here should be no trade zone. And there was something that was on the NQ earlier today. When it's trending, maybe it wasn't the NQ. I don't know. There was something I thought that Jill was talking about earlier today. where it was, no trade zones look pretty good there on the NQ right now. But where it was trending is something like this right in here and had a new trade zone. It was not quite as sensitive as it needed to be. Anyway. All right. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see anybody asking any questions in here. Don. You didn't ask anything about the ES today. Let's just look at that before you do, right at the last second. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now, the ES. Right, so we do have a weekly trading zone up above us. It's way up above us. If we crunch this up, this morning, I think when we're looking at it, we're at a turning point right here. We're halfway through the midpoint. We had gone up to this level right here, and it was either going to make a bounce here to go all the way up and start putting in a higher swing, or it was going to go 100% retracement back down to the weekly trading zone. It just about did both. It just about made that retracement and then moved up. And now it's got this in here. So using the whole leg length thing that we looked at earlier, you know, we could start that. We could start that here using this for our leg length. So it'd be this, and then this would be our two leg lengths. All right. It'd be something like this. Something like that. Okay. And then you would take that and apply it over here. Okay. Something like that. By the end of the run up. Now, the way that it's worked out, it came down, it went up, it consolidated. So it came down, it's gone up. It could consolidate here before it makes another leg up. So it's two legs to get that done. We'll see. And it was on news too.
Any high impact news tomorrow morning? Speaking of news,
there is news coming out. There is high impact news this week. Let me see what it is here. I'll go in here. This one. We didn't have it today, but we do have it coming up. Let me hit refresh on this. Okay, and tomorrow. That's right. It's core PPI and PPI. We have core PPI tomorrow and then PPI on Friday. So we do have high impact news coming up. And what I was saying, it was either at the beginning of the week or it was last week when I was looking forward to this week, was the beginning of the week we really have nothing for news, but then we have Thursday and Friday, and the stuff from the CPI is usually going to be built into the market. Yep, go ahead. And then, yeah, China's got their CPI. After we have our CPI, China's got theirs. Yep. Yes. So that, I mean, all of that is usually built into the market. If you look at the daily, the CPI stuff is usually built in the day ahead of time, usually. It doesn't look like they're really doing much today about building the CPI in. Usually that stuff is already in the market by the time it comes out, and then it just, you know, the market will drop on good news. So it looks like they're really kind of holding off. Like, it's all that stuff is really, to me, it's a bunch of hooey anyway. You don't know what's true and what's not. So, you know, just react to it. We trade on technical analysis, not fundamental analysis. So a whole bunch of technical analysis is built out of the stuff that makes the markets jump around. So
in the live trading room this morning, guys, I took the mic for just a minute while Michael was having his breakfast, and I pointed out that we had, on the daily chart of the ES, we had taken out the previous 2 days high, but not by much. And I'm always preaching to you about when you put in a new higher high or lower low of just a couple points, be very suspicious, because that type of a breakout fails a large percentage of the time. Okay, what you want to see is you want to see it break it, pull back to that area, hold as support or resistance, depending upon which way you're trading, and then get with the party.
All right. Let me wrap up the live stream because they couldn't hear any of that. So they'll just wrap up the live stream part of this. And so if you're in the live stream right now and you haven't taken a free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. Actually, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on this button. And that button's going to bring you to the registration point right here. Fill out the registration point. Fill out the registration form. And really, the other part, if you're in the live stream, the other part that you're not hearing that Dwayne's talking about right now, you should really get into that too. And to get into that, that is available every day. You go down here to mytradingiq.com, click on the noon session right here. Dwayne, this is where the noon session begins. It begins at actually 12 noon. And then at 1 o'clock when I come on and do this live stream, there's a whole hour before that happens. There's a whole hour of stuff before that happens that you should come on and check out. That is absolutely free. You can check that out every day. Go here to mytradingiq.com, click on this right here. All right. And then you hear this whole thing, not just the live stream portion of it. You hear this part and this part. And you'll be able to hear Dwayne all the time through the whole live stream. You only hear one side of the conversation that I'm having with Dwayne right now in the live stream. You'll hear both sides of that conversation if you go here and click on that button. Okay. To take the free trial to get the indicators, you click here. All right. That's it. So let me wrap up the live stream. I hate that they're not getting both sides of the conversation. Let me look in here. All right. That is it. I'm going to wrap up the live stream now. End stream. All right. There you go, Dwayne. So now I can pass that out to you in fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. And you can show everybody on charts everything you just said.
All righty. I shall do that. But first, let me ask you, because I know you got meetings, recap of the morning session.
Today it took 51 minutes and 3 trades to get to $1,950.
Mighty sweet.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, guys, we left off on the Russell, so we'll pick up there. But first, what I was just talking about is, see, we're off the high of the day. Now, we may have moved a little bit higher. Look, we hit 13 1/4. Okay, but our next major resistance, this is really important. You should write it down. 48.28. Now, remember, our highest weekly zone is way up here at 48.80. Okay. Now, there's a major obstacle to get through right here at this 50% fib extension. That's 48.40. We probably won't make it to the highest weekly zone this week. The zones are like a roadmap for you from the beginning of the week. Okay, think of yourself at a football game sitting at the 50-yard line. If you look to the left, you got the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10, the end zone. Look to the right, you got the same thing. So what the weekly trading zones are doing is they're showing all of our traders and trial members where to expect potential support and resistance as the week progresses. Now, we've already covered the ES. See? Trying to take that high out. Okay, we're printing a green candle. Question is, we got slightly higher. Okay, we took this high out by a little bit and then failed. So what we need to see is some follow through. Right here, where we put in a slightly higher high, we immediately fail. Put in a higher high here, immediately fail. We need to see one that holds. Okay. Now, where does the market find support? Well, the weekly trading zone that was published Monday morning is 47.86/87. So yesterday it found support support there. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. So we had consolidation here. And then as we drop back to the zone, we had support, support, support. And overnight, support. And then we ran up to yesterday's high. Okay. And then we took it out by just a little bit and failed. And then we took this out by a little bit and failed. And the step line is trying to cross blue and climbing. That indicates a potential pullback to the BBC. Bull bear cross. When price is above that green line, any market, any time frame, we're bullish, anticipating higher prices. Once price gets below that green line, we're bearish, anticipating lower prices. BBC, bull bear cross, the green line. Okay. Doesn't matter what time frame it's on, you put it on, daily. Pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Okay. Like here, like here. Now we do know that eventually price will trade through the BBC on the daily and on the 30-minute and on the 5-minute. That keeps the markets fluid and tradable. Okay. So we already looked at the ES anyway, the Dow. Here's what happened with the Dow. The step line crossed, pulled back to the BBC. Then blue and climbing got directly above price. So now, see, on the way up, that perfect stack, blue and climbing is your friend. Price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. Bang, we ran all the way up to the zone, spiked it a little bit, but by the time the 30-minute candle closed, we were way back down here. Okay. And we retraced to the BBC, lower high. And then we retraced to the BBC, put in a slightly higher high. Okay. So you've got this high, then this lower high, and then this high that is right in the middle. But you've got resistance overhead, because when blue and climbing gets directly above price, it's usually on its way to turning into red and falling, as it did right here. Okay. So basically right now price is trapped between blue and climbing, resistance, the BBC support. Eventually price will either get above blue and climbing, or it will get below BBC. If it gets below the BBC, then you got to expect potential support right here, 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 and here. So be very careful on the short side. If price gets above the BBC, if it doesn't turn to red and falling, I'd be surprised, but if it happens, okay, you've got to expect resistance here. So is there even room? Oh, there's 840. Yeah, I'd be very cautious on the upside with the Dow. And there's so many obstacles. If we start to move down, I would probably just look for a different market to trade. We trade every market exactly the same. Here's the Russell. Here's where we opened last night below the BBC with red and falling. So we expect lower prices, and we got it. From, I don't know, 1981 down to 1976. About 5 points. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. Then we got above the BBC, but we ran into resistance at the zone. That's what we expect until proven otherwise. Support, consolidation, drop, support, rally, consolidation, resistance, and then we get this retracement, which lines right up here. Resistance, back to support. Just remember, when price rallies up to a zone, expect resistance until proven otherwise. Price drops to a weekly zone, expect support until proven otherwise. Now, this wasn't proven otherwise. This was, when this candle opened, it was a red candle all the way down. But by the time the 30-minute candle closed, it had turned green, bullish, taking us back to the BBC. Now price is just barely above the BBC. You got potential resistance right there. You got a double top. See right there, there's 2 wicks, double top. And then potential resistance there. I would not, at this point, I would probably wait for price to get above the CTA long target before trading it up to maybe 2003. I would get above this bearish cross because that's potential resistance. Okay. Nothing really strikes me as any good trade setup right now here. We're just kind of consolidating sideways. I mean, we've gone from zone, trying to get back up to the zone. All right, in Q, this was the opening candle last night. Price is trapped. Resistance overhead, support below. Price pulled back to the BBC. Pullback holds more often than not. We closed above red and climbing. See, on this candle, we spiked it, but this candle closed above it. So the open of this candle was 16,829 half. Let's just call it 830. And it ran up 28 points to the target. So 28 times 20, because the NQ pays $20 a point. Then it continued higher. And then it pulled back to the BBC. We actually got below the BBC shortly. Buyer stepped in above this support area and have now driven us up to take out that doji. Got potential resistance here. If we get above this, then you've got a nice big window of opportunity up here. Okay, so once price gets into this area, if it gets into this area, that's when you whip out your 7-tick range chart and look for a long trade. If price were to suddenly drop below the BBC, take out this low, take out this low. Keep in mind, there's a bullish cross here, so that's potential support. So it's a small window, but again, once price gets here, you use your 7-tick range. You only need, to get your goal for the day, you only need 5 points. But on the logic alerts, because of the volatility of the NQ, the initial target is 10 points or $200 per contract traded. Crude oil. Here's where we opened last night, right on the BBC, and we ran right up to the target. This candle opened at 72.25 and ran up $400 per contract traded to the target. Then we pulled back to the BBC, and this time we traded through it. You know that's going to happen. And we made it down to here. We didn't quite hit the short target, but this one candle alone. Opened at 72.07. Put in a low at 71.70. $370 per contract traded in that one candle. $3,700 for the 10 contract trader. But you got to earn the right to trade 10 contracts. Don't just open an account and start trading in size. No, you got to learn the strategy first. And it's all spelled out in the 2420 blueprint. When you become a lifetime member, a passport holder, one of the first things you'll get is the 2420 blueprint. It's designed to help you go from 1 to 20 contracts over a period of 24 months. So, buyers come in, get us above the BBC. We hit the long target again. And then we make it almost to the zone overhead. The high, 73.59. Zones at 73.65. Why did it stop there? Bearish cross. Whenever you have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move, first time price revisits that area, it will almost always be good resistance. That's why we did not touch the zone. So then we dropped through the BBC, and before you know it, we're at the short target. And we did have crude inventories today, so that accounts for some of this movement. This candle opened at 72.25 and dropped to 71.60, we'll call it. So that's $650 per contract traded in that one candle. $6,500 for the 10 contract trader. But you gotta earn the right to trade 10 contracts. Now you see this bullish cross that led to an extended move. What happened? The first time price revisited the area of the bullish cross support. That's so reliable. Now, you need someone to really teach you how to use that, how to watch for it, how to understand what's important, what's not important. 9 out of 10 traders fail because they don't have someone to teach them, these little things, these nuances about reading the chart and understanding how price flows. So we're now consolidating at the zone, which is 71.25/71.30. When price encounters a weekly zone, 70% of the time it'll be consolidation. 20% of the time it'll be rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. That's when price slices through a zone like it's not even there. Now, we got a slice here on the 30-minute chart. Price sliced through. What time was that? That was early, 7:30. Okay. So when it ran out of steam, it retraced to the zone, it sliced through, and then continued in the direction of the slice until it ran in to the previous bearish cross. See, there's no way to know with complete certainty what's going to happen next in the market. That's impossible. There's too many variables, too many factors, too many traders, too many ideas, opinions, goals, etc. But you can learn to know with a great degree of certainty what the next high probability move is. Our Logic 247 channel is an example with over 15,800 individual handcrafted alerts. We've averaged 20% or less on a weekly basis being stopped out based on market structure, and that very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders. So you have to understand this is a business based on probabilities. There is no holy grail where you never get stopped out again. Okay? Not only doesn't exist, it can exist. It would defy the laws of science, physics, and even God. When God created Adam, he did not give Adam the ability to change the past or know the future. And here we are a few thousand years later with all these fancy computers and algorithms and indicators and oscillators. There's no 100% out there. There are certain market truths, like important prices, important areas are almost always tested. You know? But don't take my word for it. Test it out yourself. Okay? Because if you'll do that, then you own that information. It's not just something you heard some guy say. Because on the internet, earlier I said, that Gary Gensler had warned everyone, just because it's on the internet, don't believe it's true. Just because you hear it on the internet, don't believe it's true. Test it out for yourself. Because if you'll do that, then you own that information and you know that it's truth. But our best analysis, our best work, we know that 20% of the time, price is going to do something other than the next high probability thing. And we've proven that out over 15,800 plus individual alerts. Plus, I show it to you every day here on the show. So, stop trying to be perfect. Because perfection in the world of trading, according to my dear friend Mark Douglas, is this: knowing what to do, when to do it, and then just doing it. Rinse and repeat over and over, again and again, day after day. We're talking about, big moves here, potentially thousands of dollars, per contract, etc. But you only need 2 points a day. That's all you need. And over time, with your profits, you add additional contracts. Crude oil, 10 ticks is $100. But once you add the second contract with profit you earned in the market, those same 10 ticks are $200. And at 5 contracts, $500. And at 10 contracts, those same 10 ticks are now worth $1,000. But you got to show up, you got to put in the work, you got to ask the questions, you have to learn how to trade. And that's what we provide that's unique. Unlimited one-on-one mentoring and around-the-clock support via Telegram. The Passport, which is our lifetime membership, there's no recurring fees, no upsells, no nonsense, ever. Gold. Gold opened trapped between support. This is support times 2. Zone and balloon climbing. Resistance, BBC. See, when price is below the BBC, a move up, we expect resistance, and we got it. We spiked it, but it sent us back down. First, we hit the zone, and we hit the zone again. We finally made it all the way down to the short target. Then price got back above the BBC. So now we're thinking long. Here we're thinking short. Here we're thinking long. This candle closed above the BBC. The next candle opened at 2037 and ran up 7 points to 2044 and a little higher. But notice we failed. Oh no. See the high? Look familiar? Yesterday we had this huge green candle all the way up to the zone resistance. And then the next candle opened here, tried to go higher. It was green for a few minutes. By the time the 30-minute candle closed, it was red. And that took us below the BBC. And once we get below the BBC, remember, price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. If price is above the BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. Price is below that green line, it's trying to get to the zone below. It's pretty simple. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. Now, look what's happened on gold. The step line has crossed red and falling. Does that mean there's a high probability that we'll see a retracement or a pullback to the BBC and the zone? That would be resistance times 2. When price pulls up to a zone, we expect resistance. When price pulls up to the BBC, we expect resistance. So that equals resistance times 2. If the resistance holds, then we get another leg to the downside. If price overcomes the BBC, then you got potential resistance at the bearish cross, at that double top right there. This high here, and then this high here, which is the same as the high yesterday. Silver. We opened right here last night. Again, the vertical line separates today, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Price came down, zone, found support. Got above the zone, but then pulled right back to it and consolidated. A lot of consolidation at the zone. That's what you'll see 70% of the time. 20% of the time, rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. Give or take. Now, this green candle pulling above, and see we got blue and climbing down here. So this is going to be tempting, but you see that high? That high of that candle right there. Why did it stop there? Look left. Right, it stopped right at the bearish cross. And so this green candle that's now building, you should expect the same thing until proven otherwise. Okay. Second time up, there's a better chance. Plus it has the support of blue and climbing below it. So there's a better chance that we break through that area this time. So then that creates a little window of opportunity. Here. 23.16 to 23.21. That's 5 pennies, $250 per contract traded. With silver, you only need 2 pennies to reach your goal for the day. Gone from zone to zone, back to the zone. And these are the zones that were published Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And last, the euro. Here's where we opened. We just had a snarly mess here. And then we actually had a green candle run all the way up to the zone, which we expect to be resistance. And look where that candle ended up closing, way down here. So we try again, okay? This time we make it to the zone, and remember this is the second attempt. We make it through the zone and we hit the target. We get a pullback to the BBC, the pullback holds, and we hit the target again, and we put in a high. Now, see the step line, how it's drawn over to blue and climbing? If we continue to consolidate, the step line will cross blue and climbing and will most likely drop back down to the BBC. And there we are at the daily chart. We're moving higher, okay? So the current high, 48.13 1/4. Got to take that out. That has been the high now for a while, okay? If we break that current high, the next major resistance is at 48.28, which would be right here. So be conservative. And 48.18 up to 48.26. And that's an 8-point window of opportunity. Now, when you have that big of a window of opportunity, what typically happens is if price gets into the window, it'll go about halfway, retrace, and then do it again. Just like over here, I drew this in yesterday during this broadcast. And what happened? Price ran right up to the top of the window. And then the next candle opened and it attempted it again, but it only made it about halfway through, maybe 3/4 of the way. And we ended up back at the BBC. There was plenty of room to get your goal for the day there. 47.98 up to 48.01. It's 3 points, 3.5, something like that. All right. To become a lifetime member with no recurring fees, no upsells, no nonsense, go to mytradingiq.com. Passport is your all-access pass to everything we do, everything we've ever done, and whatever we do in the future. 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have someone to teach them how to do the job. If you want a fighting chance at becoming the 1 out of 10, then you're going to need to hire somebody to teach you how to do the job. I mean, if you wanted to become a pastry chef, you instinctively know that you've got to find a pastry chef to teach you how to be a pastry chef. Whether you go to some culinary institute or just apprentice in a pastry shop, you need somebody to teach you how to do the job, okay? From engineer to brain surgeon to barista. To do the job properly, you need someone to teach you how to do the job. So, if you don't hire us, hire somebody. And by hiring somebody, I don't mean just buy some more indicators and oscillators. You got enough of them, okay? I don't mean some trade calling room with some grumpy guru. I don't mean a package of cherry-picked videos. I mean a place where you get hands-on, one-on-one attention. The live training room is open every trading day for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's an interactive environment. That means you're able to ask questions. You're encouraged to ask questions. People say, how long will it take me to learn your strategy? It depends upon you and how many questions you ask. Because if you really want to understand it, then you question until you go, oh, gosh, that's simple. Some people have a hard time because they've tried all these complicated methodologies and strategies. When they come over with us, they're like, oh, come on, it can't be that simple. But it can. We show you every day. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. Our traders have access not only to the live training room every trading day, they have access to unlimited one-on-one private mentoring. Now, there's no asterisk by unlimited. Brand new members sometimes will book 2 sessions a week. Then over time, it becomes 1 session a week. Then every other week. And then pretty soon they're able to fly on their own. And so, you know, they book a session if they run into some kind of problem and need some help with something. But you have access as a passport holder to unlimited one-on-one private mentoring. The strategy you learn and the indicators that you own for life as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. As a passport holder, you also receive the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts, and you're able to attend the members-only workshop, which happens Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's tomorrow night. Guys, have your questions ready. Okay. mytradingiq.com. Get your passport today. You'll be in that members-only workshop tomorrow night. If you have questions, you can call 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. Let's wrap it up with our good word for the day. Yesterday we talked about we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purposes. Today may seem a little dark, but everybody needs to hear this. Dealing with death the right way. Psalm 23:4, everyone knows it. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Here's the truth about death. Number one, it's a sure thing. The story is told of a hypochondriac who put these words on his gravestone. Now maybe you'll believe I was sick. Seriously, if you're wise, you won't obsess about death, but you will prepare for it. 2, it's a sojourn. The word walk means each step you take brings your departure date one day closer. The word through tells you it's only a temporary passage and not your final destination. The word metamorphosis pictures a humble caterpillar being transformed into a beautiful butterfly that can soar. Likewise, the Bible describes your new body in these words. incorruptible, meaning you will never again contend with pain or sickness. See 1 Corinthians 15:53. Be immortal. Now remember, this is your new body, not your current body. Be immortal, meaning you will be ageless and incapable of dying. C, shadow. Now, a shadow might frighten you, but it cannot harm you. Indeed, the only way to have a shadow is to have a light shining. Don't you find it interesting that many of the people who have died and come back tell others about emerging from a tunnel into a bright celestial light? No wonder we need to fear no evil. Why? Because the Lord is with us, and He has conquered death, hell, and the grave. Jesus said, I am He who lives and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And I have the keys of hell and of death. Revelation 1:18. Rejoice. The key to your eternal destiny is not in your own hands or anybody else's, but in the hands of the one who loves you. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell. There we go.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.